Are you truly prepared for your retirement? Or are you one of the many who hope that a pension or government support will be enough? The reality of aging is far harsher than most people expect, especially in today's uncertain economy. In this video, we'll uncover 5 critical spending habits that could quietly sabotage your future and leave you struggling in your golden years. From supporting adult children at the expense of your financial security to the hidden dangers of scams targeting seniors, this is a must-watch for anyone nearing retirement. But it's not just about cutting costs. It's about making smarter decisions now, so you can enjoy your later years without regret. We'll also explore practical, life-changing strategies to help you save more, reduce unnecessary expenses, and protect your hard-earned money. Stay with us until the end, when we'll reveal 7 powerful saving methods inspired by Japan's approach to extending both financial stability and healthy life expectancy. These are tips you won't want to miss if you want to secure a comfortable, happy retirement. If you are not subscribed, I recommend subscribing and activating the notification bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support means a lot to me. And if you enjoyed this video, you can help me continue spreading the valuable lessons by liking and sharing it. If you like the topic of this video, please comment 1. If you don't, please comment 0 to let me know how I can improve and make better videos for you. Now, let's begin. The phrase centenarian era is rapidly gaining traction, almost like a trendy buzzword, and on the surface, it paints a picture of an era where people are living longer, presumably healthier and happier lives. It evokes thoughts of endless possibilities, perhaps even dreams of spending more time with loved ones or pursuing passions that we didn't have the time for earlier in life. But as alluring as it may sound, beneath the shiny exterior lies a darker reality, one that many people aren't fully prepared for. While living longer is indeed a blessing, it also comes with a heavy responsibility: the need for prolonged financial and emotional preparation for old age. The question we all must ask ourselves is, are we truly ready for what lies ahead? And honestly, how many of us can confidently answer yes? Surprisingly, many individuals march into retirement with nothing more than a vague and optimistic hope that the government will somehow provide for them in the form of basic pensions or other financial support as they grow older. It's a dangerous and precarious mindset, yet it's a common one. Recent surveys have revealed a truly alarming statistic. 6 out of 10 South Koreans are not actively preparing for their old age. This isn't just a concerning trend, it's a looming crisis. The thought that so many people are stepping into one of the most vulnerable phases of their lives without a plan is both heart-wrenching and terrifying. Now, let's take a sobering look at the reality. The harsh truth is that life after retirement is often far bleaker than many anticipate. The global economy has struggled to recover from the effects of the COVID-19 pandemic, and this has left an entire generation of young people grappling with skyrocketing unemployment rates. What does this mean for older generations? For those in their 50s and 60s who hope to re-enter the workforce after retiring, the options are slim if not non-existent. Outside of a handful of government-sponsored jobs, there are simply no opportunities available. Imagine dedicating decades of your life to a career, only to find out that when you're ready to work again, the doors are firmly shut. It's not just disheartening, it's a crushing blow. And for those who can't find work, desperation often leads them down risky paths. Some seniors turn to entrepreneurship, starting businesses without the proper experience or resources, while others gamble on volatile investments like Bitcoin or the stock market, hoping for a quick windfall. Sadly, many of these ventures end in financial ruin, leaving them to spend their golden years not in comfort and relaxation, but in regret and misery. The statistics paint an even bleaker picture. South Korea currently holds the unfortunate distinction of having the highest elderly poverty rate among OECD countries, with more than 40% of its senior population living in poverty. Take a moment to absorb that nearly half of the elderly in South Korea are struggling to make ends meet. It's a crisis that goes beyond mere numbers. It's about human lives, about dignity, and about the basic right to live without fear of destitution in one's later years. As South Korea's aging population grows at an alarming rate, surpassing even other OECD nations, the situation becomes increasingly dire. The baby boomer generation is now entering retirement in droves, and with them comes a tidal wave of issues, including the tragic rise of lonely deaths. It's heartbreaking to think that so many elderly people are spending their final years isolated, working grueling jobs like recycling or manual labor just to survive. This isn't the life they dreamed of, and it serves as a stark warning to those who might think, not yet. I'll plan for retirement later. The time to prepare is now before it's too late. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment one below to let me know that you are still here with me. The National Pension Service recently shared some staggering figures regarding the cost of living after retirement. According to their estimates, a single person needs approximately 1.54 million won per month to live comfortably post-retirement. If we assume a 30-year lifespan after retiring, this means that a person would need to save roughly 540 million won. For a couple, the number jumps to around 1.18 billion won. And this doesn't even take into account medical expenses, which can be astronomical in later years. When you factor in healthcare, a couple should aim to save at least 1.3 billion won to ensure they can live out their years without relying on others or facing financial ruin. I know that number seems absurd. It feels almost impossible to imagine saving 1.3 billion won, especially when many of us are struggling to make ends meet as it is. But the reality is this. Unlike in the past when children were expected to take care of their aging parents, our generation is now responsible for funding our old age. The traditional safety net of family support is shrinking, and with the cost of living rising rapidly, the figures that once seemed unattainable are now a cold, hard reality. Consider this. Just 10 years ago, a simple bowl of kalguksu noodle soup would cost around 3,000 won. Today, that same meal will set you back nearly 10,000 won. The cost of living is climbing at a dizzying pace, and without proper planning, many people will find themselves unprepared to meet the basic financial demands of retirement. Saving for the future, however, is easier said than done. Many people, particularly those facing immediate financial pressures, find it difficult, if not impossible, to worry about something that seems so far away. When you're struggling to keep up with today's expenses, how can you think about saving for 20 or 30 years down the line? It's a heartbreaking dilemma, and it's one that countless individuals face every day. Yet, despite these challenges, some adopt a live-for-today attitude. They tell themselves, life is short, let's enjoy it while we can. Why worry about tomorrow? And while there's certainly a place for that mindset, especially when it comes to cherishing the present moment, it's important to strike a balance. Failing to plan for the future can leave you vulnerable, not just financially but emotionally as well. As we grow older, the last thing any of us wants is to become a burden on our children or loved ones. The thought of losing our independence and of having to rely on others for financial or emotional support is terrifying, and that's why it's so crucial to have these conversations now. There are no one-size-fits-all solutions, but the need for thoughtful, proactive planning cannot be overstated. The goal isn't just to protect the wealth you have today, but to ensure that you can live with dignity and peace in the years to come. Aging is inevitable. We will all grow old, face illness, and eventually experience the decline of our physical and mental abilities. It's a universal truth, one that none of us can escape. But what we can control is how we approach that reality. The tragic stories of people in their 60s and 70s facing financial ruin aren't isolated incidents, they're warnings. They remind us that if we don't take steps to prepare now, we could easily find ourselves in the same situation. Experts often suggest that individuals should begin planning for retirement at least 5 years in advance, particularly as the time will come when their income starts to dwindle or disappear altogether. It's not enough to simply earn money during your working years. It's just as important, if not more so, to learn how to manage that money wisely and spend it judiciously. So today, let's take a closer look at 5 crucial spending habits that those in their 50s and 60s should aim to cut back on as they approach retirement. These habits, if left unchecked, can lead to financial instability and a less secure future. But by recognizing them now and making adjustments, you can put yourself on a path toward a stable, comfortable, and fulfilling retirement. Let's dive into these strategies because your future self will be eternally grateful. 1. Supporting adult children. Supporting adult children is a topic that often stirs up deep emotions for many parents. It's a delicate balance between wanting to give them the best possible start in life and protecting your own financial future. Parents who find themselves draining their retirement funds to support their adult children can end up trapped in a heartbreaking cycle, constantly feeling torn between love and obligation. Many parents may feel as if they're stuck between a rock and a hard place, thinking, if I don't give, they'll resent me. If I give some, it won't be enough. If I give it all, I'll end up with nothing. There's a well-known saying that echoes the sentiment. The eldest son is a big thief. The youngest son is a small thief. The daughter is a pretty thief. Grandchildren are slightly thievish, and sons-in-law and daughters-in-law are troublesome. While this might seem like a light-hearted joke, there's an undeniable and bitter truth behind it. As parents, it's impossible to overlook these realities. In today's world, it's common to see parents feel immense pressure to help their children buy a house or fund their dreams simply because they have the means to do so. If they can't provide such support, they often feel as if they've failed in their parental duties. But here's the difficult truth. If parents constantly blame themselves for not being able to give their children everything, what lessons are they passing on? The world is full of hard lessons, and children, whether they realize it or not, will inevitably face deception, hardship, and struggle in life. It's tough to watch as friends or family members share stories of parents who, despite their children's sweet words and emotional pleas, end up financially ruined by giving everything away for business funds or other ventures. The result? Those once thriving parents are left with nothing, while their children move on, often leaving them behind. There's no satisfaction in winning or losing in this situation, only heartache and regret. To avoid these deep and painful regrets later in life, parents must proceed with caution. Of course, every parent sees their children as precious, lovable beings. It's only natural to want to give them everything, but the hard reality is that giving away too much, especially financially, often brings misery to both sides. Clear, open communication is key. Parents must set firm boundaries and make it known what they can and cannot offer. It's essential to understand that being a good parent doesn't mean giving everything until there's nothing left. No one can carry the responsibility of another person's financial future forever, not even between parent and child. While it's not always the right decision to cut off support entirely, financial boundaries must be drawn, and these boundaries must be respected by both parents and children. Providing financial support in the name of love doesn't always lead to happiness. Sometimes it creates deep resentment or dependence. A cautionary tale comes to mind. After a husband passed away, his wife, now in her golden years, was left with enough funds to purchase a small villa. The plan was simple. She would live there and eventually pass the home down to her children. But her son had other ideas. He suggested that she rent a place instead and lend the leftover money to him for his business. In exchange, he promised to provide her with monthly living expenses. Now, this elderly woman finds herself torn, unsure what to do, and deeply confused about whether she should prioritize her son's request or her future. These kinds of dilemmas are becoming more common, and they highlight a troubling shift in the way children perceive filial duty today. The traditional notion of filial piety has evolved significantly. Children today, compared to previous generations, often view their parents' financial contributions as a given rather than a blessing. It's heartbreaking to see that financial dependence often replaces genuine emotional connection, with many children placing more emphasis on their parents' wallets than their well-being. Of course, not all children are like this. There are still those who truly respect and care for their parents. And as parents, the instinct to give everything to ensure your children's happiness is hard to resist. Parents naturally hope their children will lead better, more successful lives than they did. However, it's crucial to remember that just because you can't provide everything for your children right now doesn't mean you failed. Whether you give now or later doesn't change the fact that, in the end, all that you've accumulated will pass down to them. But here's the most important lesson. If you exhaust all your resources supporting your children now and neglect your retirement, you risk becoming a burden on them later. This is the ultimate irony. You could be sacrificing everything in the name of love today, only to create an even bigger problem for your children tomorrow. Without proper financial planning for your future, you may find yourself relying on those very children to support you when your funds run dry. That's not the legacy any parent wants to leave behind. Supporting adult children is one of the most challenging aspects of parenting. It requires thoughtful decision-making, emotional strength, and a deep understanding that sometimes saying no is the most loving thing you can do. By setting clear financial boundaries, parents can protect their future while still offering love and guidance to their children. It's not about withholding affection or support. It's about making sure that everyone can thrive, both now and in the years to come. Ultimately, the goal is to ensure that your retirement is secure, your future is protected, and your children are equipped to stand on their own 2 feet. It's a difficult balance to strike, but it's one worth striving for, because both your happiness and theirs depend on it. 2. Expense for celebrations and condolences. How much do you find yourself spending each month on celebration and condolence expenses? Have you ever paused to wonder whether all that money will ever come back to you? This is a question many of us don't ask until the costs begin to pile up, leaving us overwhelmed by the sheer amount we're dishing out to keep up with social obligations. A close friend of mine recently shared his story during a casual gathering with our alumni group. He revealed that in just 2 months, May and June, he spent over $3 million on celebration and condolence expenses. As an executive in a company with branches across the country, he receives invitations from all over, and whether he can attend or not, he's expected to send money. Each event costs anywhere from 100,000 to 500,000 won, and although he recognizes how excessive it's becoming, he feels trapped. With younger siblings still in university, the financial strain has grown unbearable, and yet he's unsure how to break free from this never-ending cycle of social obligation. I, too, feel the weight of these expenses, though mine are on a smaller scale, about 300,000 won each month. I justify it as repaying the kindness and support I've received from family and close friends during their celebrations and condolences. But even then, I can't help but question whether this is sustainable. Among friends or distant acquaintances, where mutual support is far less guaranteed, it becomes difficult to know where to draw the line. One of my friends eventually decided to cut back, offering only a token gesture in situations where he felt obligated. But as we discussed it, another classmate bitterly remarked, "Even if you offer something small, it might be seen as insincere, and you could be criticized regardless." It was a sobering thought. No matter what you give, someone might always find fault. It made me wonder if this whole system is more about formality than genuine connection. The practice of giving money for celebrations and condolences originated from a beautiful tradition of mutual support within communities. Neighbors, relatives, and friends would pool together resources, whether it be money, food, or manpower, to help one another during significant life events. The focus was on collective support and maintaining strong bonds. But today, that tradition has lost much of its meaning. Instead, it's become a transactional exchange, where the giving and receiving of money often feels obligatory and even burdensome. Cash has replaced genuine presence, and many now simply hand over money rather than attend in person. What was once about shared humanity has become little more than a financial exchange. If you don't give, you risk offending someone or even damaging your relationship. If you do give, you're locked into a system where you're expected to reciprocate equally or risk social consequences. It's no longer about support. It's become an investment for future returns, one that many people dread. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment below to let me know that you are still here with me. But here's the heartbreaking truth. Most people never even get back half of the money they've spent over a lifetime on these events. For retirees or those nearing retirement, the burden of these expenses is especially heavy. In many cases, people who once gave generously to social acquaintances find that when their own celebrations or condolences come around after retirement, those people are nowhere to be found. The bitter reality sets in those people never truly cared. Celebration and condolence invitations, once meaningful, start to feel like bills that must be paid, adding to the already overwhelming financial pressures of old age. It's a toxic cycle, but it's deeply embedded in our culture and, unfortunately, not something that will easily disappear. I have an acquaintance, now retired, who made a brave and realistic decision after years of giving too much. They chose to drastically scale back their involvement in celebrations and condolences, focusing only on people they truly cared about. For their daughter's wedding in September, instead of inviting everyone they'd ever crossed paths with, they kept the guest list small, sending invitations only to those relatives and friends they had meaningful connections with. They didn't want to shoulder the enormous financial burden that comes with hosting lavish celebrations, especially in their retirement years. Their mindset was simple. If you want to free yourself from the pressures of celebration and condolence expenses in old age, you have to start by giving and receiving less. It's about creating a virtuous cycle, one where mutual understanding and simplicity are valued over extravagance and obligation. But this isn't an easy change to make. The pressures from society and our cultural upbringing are strong, and many people feel they have no choice but to continue spending in the name of tradition. Still, one thing is clear. If you don't start making adjustments, you could find yourself financially bankrupt in your later years, simply from trying to keep up with outdated social customs. It's vital to cultivate the habit of reducing these expenses within your own family. The shift must start at home, with the realization that celebrating life's important moments doesn't have to come at the expense of your financial security. So, where do we go from here? How do we break free from a system that feels more like an obligation than a celebration? The answer lies in balance. There's no need to completely cut off these traditions, but there's certainly room for adjustment. Approach each invitation with a clear understanding of your financial limits. Recognize that it's okay to say no or to offer a smaller, heartfelt gesture rather than feeling pressured to meet a certain financial standard. Be open with your loved ones about your situation and encourage them to understand that the value of these events isn't in the amount of money spent, but in the genuine connections shared. In the end, celebrations and condolences should be about community, love, and support. There should be moments where we come together, not fall into financial distress. If we can shift our mindset, if we can begin to place more value on presence rather than presents, we can free ourselves from the toxic cycle of social obligation that has overtaken the true meaning behind these traditions. And most importantly, we can ensure that we enter our later years with both financial security and peace of mind. It's time to start creating new traditions, ones that are rooted in connection, not cost. 3. The temptation of investments and scams. As we enter old age, there's a natural desire to slow down and enjoy the fruits of a lifetime of hard work. Many retirees look forward to traveling, reconnecting with old friends, or simply relaxing after years of dedication to their careers. During these early years of retirement, typically the first 3 to 5 years, it's easy to get caught up in the excitement of newfound freedom. But amidst the joy of this chapter, there's an ever-present danger lurking: the temptation of investments and worse, scams. One crucial piece of advice is this: never boast about your financial situation, whether you're well off or struggling. Even if you have substantial savings or a pension, it's wise to downplay your wealth. In retirement, you'll inevitably cross paths with old acquaintances, some of whom may be well-meaning and others who may not. You may also meet new people who seem trustworthy, but are looking to take advantage of your situation. The safest approach is to remain humble and discreet about your financial status. The last thing you want is to draw unwanted attention from those who see retirees as easy prey for their schemes. As we age, we often become targets for those who peddle too good to be true investment opportunities, especially at social gatherings or through casual acquaintances. These offers might seem promising at first, particularly when they come from someone you trust or have known for a long time. Yet, no matter how sweet the promises sound, whether they guarantee quick returns or offer supposedly risk-free investments, it's vital to approach these offers with extreme caution. Always remember, if something sounds too good to be true, it probably is. The world of investment fraud has evolved. In the past, scams were more personal and carried out face-to-face. But now, with the rise of the internet and technology, fraudsters have become far more sophisticated. Scams can come in the form of online investment offers, financial fraud, voice phishing, and elaborate Ponzi schemes. These criminals have perfected the art of deception, targeting vulnerable retirees who are often looking for ways to supplement their retirement income or ensure financial security for their later years. Take the heartbreaking story of Mr. Jung from Gwangju as a warning. Last August, he fell victim to a blockchain scam, losing his entire investment of 20 million won. The scammer promised daily returns of 1.5% to 2%, claiming that the money would grow through a so-called advanced payment system involving cryptocurrency. For 2 months, it seemed like the investment was legitimate. Dividends were regularly deposited into his account. But one day, the payment stopped and the scammer vanished, leaving Mr. Jung and other investors devastated. The fraudster had traveled across the country, hosting flashy seminars about revolutionary technology, luring innocent people to bring in friends and family members in exchange for higher returns. As of now, victims have filed lawsuits, but the total losses are estimated to exceed 60 billion won. Disturbingly, More than half of the victims are elderly, in their 70s and 80s. Another tragic case is that of Mr. Kim, a man in his 60s who invested 200 million won, trusting that it would provide for his retirement. He, like many others, was deceived by promises of securing his financial future. But as more victims came forward, it became painfully clear that seniors, many of whom were barely able to use smartphones, were being deliberately targeted. These scammers knew that the elderly were more vulnerable, often less tech-savvy and more trusting, making them easy marks for such elaborate frauds. To make matters worse, even after being exposed, the scammers simply changed their name and continued to prey on the elderly, looking for new victims. These heartbreaking stories serve as a stark reminder. As we age, we must be even more vigilant and cautious when it comes to investments. It's easy to feel overwhelmed by all the financial jargon, especially when new technologies like cryptocurrency or blockchain are involved. If an investment is difficult to understand or feels outside of your comfort zone, it's best to stay away entirely. Avoid any investment that you don't fully comprehend, even if it's being promoted by someone you trust. Sometimes, the best financial decision is to stick with what you know, focusing on stable, reliable options. Ones that have been tried and tested will keep you from falling into the trap of risky ventures. Remember, scammers are incredibly skilled at making their offers sound legitimate. They prey on the natural desire for financial security in old age, offering false promises of high returns and risk-free investments. But the consequences can be devastating, both financially and emotionally. The stress, frustration, and heartbreak of losing your hard-earned savings to a scam can be overwhelming, leaving you not only financially drained but emotionally scarred as well. So how do we protect ourselves? The answer lies in exercising extreme caution. If you don't understand the details of an investment, walk away. If it feels too complex or too good to be true, trust your instincts. No matter how tempting an offer may seem, no one cares about your financial well-being more than you do. Fraudsters are constantly evolving their tactics, and it's up to us to stay vigilant and protect ourselves from their schemes. In old age, it's easy to feel the weight of financial uncertainty. We all want to secure our futures and ensure that we can live out our golden years in comfort. But remember, maintaining what you have is often better than risking it all in the pursuit of more. By staying informed, being cautious, and avoiding high-risk investments, you can safeguard your financial security and enjoy the peace of mind that comes with knowing you're making sound, responsible decisions. In the end, the goal is to protect not just your money but your well-being. There's no need to gamble with your future when you've already worked so hard to build a life of stability. Stick with what you know, avoid the allure of quick returns, and ensure that your retirement years are filled with the rest, relaxation, and joy you deserve, not the stress and heartbreak of falling victim to a scam. 4. Indiscriminate use of nutritional supplements. As we get older, the temptation to rely on nutritional supplements grows stronger, fueled by the desire to stay healthy and fight off the inevitable effects of aging. You might think, I need more supplements to maintain my health. But have you ever considered why you might need to cut back on them instead? For many people, reaching the age of 50 marks the beginning of what feels like an endless routine of taking supplements and medications. It becomes almost a running joke, the handful of pills you take each day just to keep going. But for some, it's not just about supplements. It's a daily ritual of various medications, particularly for conditions like hypertension and chronic pain. Even parents who were once the picture of health find themselves gradually increasing their medication intake. Once they start on blood pressure meds, it's not long before painkillers and other prescriptions follow, until they're left managing a long list of daily medications. Supplements though different from prescription drugs, have become just as common. We are constantly bombarded with ads, health programs, and influencers pushing the latest must-have supplement that supposedly holds the key to longevity. These advertisements create a sense of urgency, leading us to believe that if we don't take this new pill or powder, we're missing out on a miracle cure. It's easy to fall into this trap when the fear of aging and illness is lurking in the back of your mind. Professor Jong Yi-won, a specialist in geriatric internal medicine, warns that over-reliance on supplements and functional health foods can do more harm than good. The more supplements we take, the less our bodies are required to function naturally. For instance, if you rely on a certain supplement to provide an essential nutrient, your body may stop producing it on its own. Before long, you find yourself dependent on that supplement, and eventually, taking a fistful of pills each day just to feel normal. It's a cycle that can become overwhelming, not only physically but financially as well. I, too, have fallen into this pattern. Although I'm generally skeptical of health trends, I found myself reaching for supplements to ease my aches and pains, thinking it was a safer and more natural alternative to medication. But after a while, the cost of all those supplements added up, and I began to question whether they were truly helping me or just lightening my wallet. In a society that thrives on consumerism, it's easy to be swayed by clever marketing. Companies prey on our vulnerabilities, convincing us that we need this pill or that powder to stay healthy and ward off illness. If you're not careful, you can easily spend hundreds or even thousands on supplements, believing they're the key to well-being. One of the biggest misconceptions people have is that supplements are safer than medication simply because they're labeled as health functional foods. This is especially true when it comes to dieting supplements. Many believe that popping a few pills will help them shed pounds effortlessly without the risks associated with prescription medications. But while supplements might provide psychological comfort, the actual effectiveness is often minimal. Reducing appetite with a pill isn't a sustainable solution, and in many cases, the long-term side effects of these supplements can outweigh any short-term benefits. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 3 below to let me know that you are still here with me. Even though supplements are marketed as food, they can still cause harm when taken in excess. Too much of a particular ingredient can lead to adverse side effects, and while the immediate impact may seem positive, it can come with serious long-term consequences. I've known people who took supplements for specific conditions like hypertension, only to later develop complications. For example, one acquaintance who had been on hypertension medication for years ended up with an enlarged heart, a condition caused by prolonged use of the medication. This is a perfect example of how, while medications or supplements might help one problem, they often create new issues in the process. It's important to recognize that every supplement, just like every medication, has a trade-off. There are benefits, but there are also risks. For every positive effect, there may be a negative consequence lurking in the background. The supplement industry thrives on the idea that more is better, that taking a little of everything will somehow make you healthier and protect you from illness. But in reality, this mindset can be dangerous. Relying too heavily on supplements can weaken your body's natural functions, leaving you dependent on external sources for nutrients and risking imbalances that can lead to serious health problems down the line. So, what's the solution? It's about balance and mindfulness. Supplements aren't inherently bad, and in some cases, they can be incredibly helpful, particularly when prescribed by a doctor for a specific deficiency or condition. But we need to be wary of overuse and the marketing that pressures us into believing we need more than we do. Rather than relying on a pill to solve every problem, it's essential to focus on a healthy lifestyle, one that includes a balanced diet, regular exercise, and proper mental care. Supplements should be seen as just that, supplementary to an already healthy routine, not as the primary means of maintaining health. As we age, it's natural to want to do everything in our power to stay healthy, but indiscriminately adding supplements to our daily routine can lead to more harm than good. In a world where consumerism dominates and advertisements target our every insecurity, it's easy to get swept up in the idea that health comes in a bottle. But real health comes from within, from taking care of your body, understanding its needs, and not falling prey to the latest trend or product that promises a quick fix. Let's be more cautious, more mindful, and more in tune with what our bodies truly need as we navigate the complexities of aging gracefully. 5. Nursing and medical expenses. While the idea of living a longer life seems appealing at first glance, increasing life expectancy isn't entirely a blessing, especially if much of that extended time is spent dealing with health problems. If your healthy life expectancy is short, living longer only means more years of facing health issues, nursing needs, and medical expenses. As we age, the costs associated with healthcare can become a significant burden, both financially and emotionally. It's an unfortunate reality that many retirees are ill-prepared for. One way to alleviate this growing concern is by focusing on muscle tech, a term that blends the importance of muscle maintenance with technology. After the age of 50, it's common to feel a noticeable decline in muscle strength, and by the time you reach your 60s, that loss can accelerate up to 3% per year. This makes it critical to not just build muscle, but at least maintain what you currently have to avoid the physical and financial toll of muscle loss. The most effective way to preserve muscle mass is through regular, intentional exercise. But it's not as simple as just being active. The key is to exercise with proper guidance. Professor Jong Ewan, a specialist in geriatric internal medicine, emphasizes that even walking correctly can significantly contribute to maintaining health. However, many people, especially older adults, are prone to injury when they walk with the same vigor or form they had in their youth. Following exercise routines from YouTube videos without proper form or supervision can also lead to strains and injuries. This is why guidance from fitness experts or trainers is invaluable. With their help, you can strengthen your muscles and increase joint flexibility, which becomes essential as you age. Experts recommend combining different types of exercise rather than sticking to just one. Repeating the same exercise over and over can lead to the overuse of certain muscles and joints, while others remain neglected. To avoid this imbalance, it's ideal to mix aerobic exercise, strength training, and flexibility workouts. Each of these offers its own set of benefits, and finding the right combination with the help of a professional can set you on a path to a healthier, more active retirement. That being said, expert guidance often comes with a hefty price tag, making it inaccessible for some. If the cost of personal trainers or specialized fitness programs feels out of reach, there are alternative options. Welfare services like the National Fitness Award, which is provided by the government, offer a cost-effective way to stay in shape. Through this program, you can have your physical fitness assessed and receive personalized exercise recommendations at local centers, all without breaking the bank. It's a great way to ensure you're following a program tailored to your body's needs without spending a fortune. In addition to exercise, diet plays a crucial role in maintaining muscle strength. As we age, protein becomes an essential part of keeping our bodies functioning at their best. Whole grains, legumes, fruits, and vegetables are excellent sources of protein that can help you maintain muscle mass without relying on expensive supplements. Incorporating these foods into your diet supports your overall health and complements your fitness routine, giving you a more holistic approach to aging well. Of course, We all know that preparing for retirement requires planning, not just financially, but physically and mentally as well. Yet, with the pressures of everyday life, it can be overwhelming to think about the future when you're just trying to manage immediate financial struggles. The cost of living rises, incomes decrease, and health issues become more prevalent as we age. It's a harsh reality that many people face, but it must be addressed if we are to enter our later years with any sense of security. The thought of facing an unprepared retirement can be terrifying, and it's never too late to start taking small steps to prepare yourself for the future. Even if you feel like your life has been filled with mistakes, setbacks, and missed opportunities, it's important to remember that perseverance can lead to a fulfilling and successful life, no matter how old you are. Life isn't a straight path. It's full of twists, turns, and challenges. Sometimes you'll fall, get hurt, and feel like giving up. But it's in those moments that you need to find the strength to rise again. If you stay down, that's where your story ends. But if you get up, if you push through the pain and keep moving forward, life will continue to unfold in new and meaningful ways. Even when the road ahead seems cloudy, those clouds don't define your life. You define your life by the steps you take. It's a journey filled with both pain and happiness, and if you keep moving forward with courage, you will find the happiness you deserve. As we move beyond the concept of the centenarian era and look toward an era where living to 120 may become more common, it's essential to start thinking about how we can prepare for that extended future. Japan, for example, has already begun exploring new methods of saving and preparing for old age, and many of these ideas are gaining attention as practical ways to ensure a secure and comfortable retirement. In today's world, where retirement is no longer a brief chapter, but potentially a decades-long phase of life, we must focus on health as much as finances. By prioritizing muscle maintenance, adopting a well-rounded fitness routine, and being mindful of diet, we can take significant steps toward reducing the burden of nursing and medical expenses. It's not just about living longer, it's about living well. 1. Reducing food expenses. To effectively reduce food expenses, start by setting a weekly budget. By allocating a specific amount for groceries each week, you'll have a clear guideline for managing your spending. Before heading to the store, always check what you already have in your refrigerator and pantry to avoid buying items you don't need. Create a detailed shopping list based on your meal plans and stick to it. Instead of doing large grocery hauls, consider shopping about 3 times a week. This way, you can buy fresher ingredients and avoid waste. Additionally, shopping more frequently helps prevent impulse purchases, which often happen during bulk shopping trips. 2. Saving on utilities. One of the easiest ways to cut back on utility bills is by installing water-saving devices such as efficient shower heads or faucet aerators. These simple devices reduce water consumption without the need for conscious effort. To reduce electricity costs, pay attention to high-energy consuming appliances like air conditioners. Instead of frequently turning them on and off, use automatic operation modes that regulate temperature more efficiently. These modes ensure that your devices operate at optimal energy levels, cutting down on unnecessary power usage. Small adjustments in how you use your appliances can result in significant savings over time. 3. Reviewing fixed costs. Fixed costs, such as insurance premiums and communication expenses, can add up quickly for elderly households. In Japan, public insurance helps reduce medical expenses depending on your age, so it's a good idea to evaluate your private insurance needs and keep only the essential policies. Reviewing your car and property insurance could also help save money. Many providers offer cheaper premiums if you apply online. Additionally, if you no longer use a landline phone, consider canceling it and switching to a more affordable mobile phone plan. These small adjustments can help trim down unnecessary costs. 4. Disposing of cars. Owning a car can be expensive due to ongoing maintenance, fuel, and insurance costs. Although giving up your car might feel like a loss of independence, local governments often provide affordable transportation subsidies or services specifically for the elderly. These services are designed to ensure mobility and ease transportation burdens. By getting rid of your car, you not only save on immediate costs, but also eliminate long-term maintenance expenses. For those living in urban areas with good public transportation, this option is especially practical. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment below to let me know that you are still here with me. 5. Delaying pension to receive more. In Japan, as of April 2022, the pension system allows individuals to start receiving their pension at age 65. However, if you're still working or don't immediately need the pension, delaying it can significantly increase your payments. For instance, if you wait until age 70 to begin collecting, your pension will increase by 42%. This strategy is particularly useful for those who are still financially stable and can afford to delay their pension, ensuring a higher monthly amount later in life. 6. Using home as collateral for living expenses. For homeowners, Japan offers a reverse mortgage system similar to South Korea's home pension. By using your home as collateral, you can borrow living funds while continuing to live in your home. This provides a stable source of income during retirement. The interest on the loan is repaid monthly, and the principal is settled either by selling the home after the borrower passes away or by the heirs. This can be a valuable option for retirees who own property and want to unlock the value of their home without having to sell it while they are alive. 7. Extending healthy life expectancy. One of the largest financial burdens in old age is medical and nursing care costs. If your healthy life expectancy is short, living longer could mean more years of dealing with health issues, which leads to significant expenses. To reduce these costs, focusing on health maintenance is crucial. The Ministry of Health, Labor, and Welfare recommends incorporating 10 minutes of appropriate exercise into your daily routine, consuming at least 70 grams of vegetables each day, quitting smoking, and scheduling regular health checkups. By prioritizing your health, you can extend your healthy life expectancy and minimize the financial strain of medical and nursing care in the future. As we conclude, I hope these tips have given you valuable insights into managing your finances and health as you approach or live through your retirement years. From reducing food expenses and saving on utilities to reviewing fixed costs and considering your pension options, these strategies can help ease the financial burden in your later years. Now, we'd love to hear from you. What have you learned from this video that you'll put into practice in your own life? Share one thing you've taken away in the comments below. We'd love to read your thoughts. If you enjoyed this video, please leave your comment below. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more helpful content. Your support means the world to us.